All right, let's just get straight to it. It's really something to think about, isn't it? When a government, the highest levels, publicly says a former leader was at fault,
Yeah.
but then turns around and says, well, because of his age, we're not pursuing legal action. What does that truly signal about accountability?
It really makes you wonder, are there different rules for different people, especially those who've held that kind of power?
Exactly. Or is there something else going on? A deeper, maybe more calculated political game being played out?
We talk a lot about fairness, about impartiality.
But then you see something like this, and you just have to ask, is the system itself making exceptions when it's, well, convenient?
And this isn't just some isolated decision about one specific case, is it?
Not at all. It sent shockwaves, really, through the whole political landscape here in Malaysia. We're seeing accusations of interference flying around.
Right, and it's setting things up for some pretty intense clashes in Parliament.
You might think, okay, that's about an island, Pulau Batu Puteh, and one former leader. But as we dig into this today, you'll see it really challenges how we understand power, who holds it, how it's used. It might reveal a political strategy that's, well, a lot more complex than it looks on the surface.
It's definitely a fascinating situation, and maybe a bit unsettling, too.
Okay, so let's unpack this. At the heart of it all is Pulau Batu Puteh, that sovereignty dispute.
Right, the island claimed by both Malaysia and Singapore for years.
And back in 2008, we had the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, step in. They made a ruling.
A very specific one. Pulau Batu Puteh went to Singapore.
And Middle Rocks nearby went to Malaysia.
And then there was South Ledge. Its ownership sort of hinged on where the territorial waters boundary would eventually be drawn. So, some clarity from the International Court.
But then things took a turn, didn't they?
Yeah.
Fast forward almost a decade to 2018.
That's where it gets really interesting. The Prime Minister at the time, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, he decided, well, the government decided, to withdraw Malaysia's application to review that ICJ ruling.
A really pivotal decision. And that specific act, withdrawing the review application, is what eventually led to a Royal Commission of Inquiry, an RCI.
Yeah, convened just last year, December 2024, specifically to look into why that withdrawal happened and how it was handled. So a past decision suddenly under a very bright spotlight.
And the RCI, they didn't hold back. Their findings were pretty significant.
No, they definitely didn't pull any punches. They recommended a criminal investigation against Dr. Mahathir.
Specifically citing parts of the Penal Code, right?
Yeah.
Section 415B on cheating and 418.
That's right, Section 418, which deals with cheating knowing it could cause wrongful loss. So serious stuff relating to how he handled the whole Pulau Batu Puteh issue.
But, and this is important, they explicitly did not recommend a civil suit.
Correct. Not for misfeasance in public office, which is basically about abusing official power. And the main reason cited was a 6-year time limit, the statute of limitations.
So that avenue was closed. And they also didn't suggest going back to the ICJ for another interpretation.
No, the focus was squarely on the past decision and potential criminal accountability.
So, faced with these serious recommendations, how did Dr. Mahathir respond?
Well, he was very public about it. He defended his integrity, stated he was ready to face any investigation.
He even said he was prepared to go to court, didn't need any kind of special treatment because of his age.
Exactly. He essentially said, bring it on, I don't need judicial immunity. His stance was clear. He saw the whole RCI as politically motivated.
Aimed squarely at blaming him for losing the island.
That was his framing. And he made another key point, too.
Which was?
He argued the decision to withdraw wasn't his alone. It was a collective cabinet decision based on the legal advice they got at the time.
Ah, okay. So he questioned why he was singled out.
Precisely. He asked why other ministers from that cabinet weren't also called as witnesses or investigated.
And he made that rather pointed comment about his deputy at the time.
Yes, saying if he was treacherous, then so was his deputy, Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, who happens to be the current prime minister's wife.
That's a bold statement, really highlighting what he saw as selective targeting.
Definitely a move to spread the responsibility, or at least the political heat.
Okay, so let's shift to the present day. What does this mean now, politically? We get to July 22nd, 2025.
And Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim makes a major announcement. The cabinet has decided not to pursue legal action against Dr. Mahathir.
A huge decision. What was the reasoning given?
The main reason stated publicly was Dr. Mahathir's age. He's 100 years old.
Anwar was very direct about it too, wasn't he? The quote was quite striking.
Extremely direct. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Is he not at fault? He is at fault. Should action be taken, we agreed not to take action." Quite unequivocal.
Wow. Admitting fault but stopping short of action.
Right. He also mentioned the political dimension that prosecuting could lead the opposition to claim unfairness, political persecution.
So acknowledging the potential political fallout.
Yes, he basically said Mahathir's mistake is serious, but we should not proceed. It lays out the government's thinking, fault acknowledged, but other factors, age and politics, led to the decision not to prosecute.
Okay. And you can absolutely imagine the reaction to that, especially from the opposition.
Oh, absolutely. It was immediate. Just 2 days later, July 24th.
PAS Secretary General Taqiyuddin Hassan steps in.
Moves to refer Prime Minister Anwar himself to the Parliamentary Rights and Privileges Committee, a very formal, very serious step.
What was the basis for that referral?
It hinged on the Constitution. Taqiyuddin's argument was all about Article 145(3).
The Attorney General's powers.
Exactly. He argued that the power to start, conduct, or stop criminal proceedings belongs only to the Attorney General, independently.
So Anwar's statement about the cabinet deciding not to take action
Is framed as the executive, the cabinet, interfering with the AG's exclusive constitutional power. And therefore, Taqiyuddin argued, Anwar had misled Parliament about the proper process.
which is a serious charge under parliamentary rule, Standing Order 3612. It's about misleading the House.
Precisely. It's a direct challenge based on the fundamental principle of the separation of powers.
And this is where it gets really interesting strategically. The opposition is this whole thing as, what, a big pit, a trap.
That's the narrative they're pushing, that Anwar walked right into it. They see it as a perfect chance to stir up public anger.
Especially with that big rally planned for tomorrow, July 26th. The timing seems crucial.
Absolutely. Political timing is often everything.
So what's the opposition's strategic angle here? How does this play out for them?
Well, look at it from their viewpoint.
Hmm.
Dr. Mahathir saying he's ready for court kind of cuts the legs out from under Anwar's reason, the age factor.
Right. It makes it look like maybe the government doesn't have the evidence,
Oh.
or they're scared to act.
That's the perception they want to create. And why might the government be hesitant? Think about it.
If Mahathir, the PM of the PH 1.0 government, is found officially at fault,
It could imply some level of collective responsibility for that cabinet, and many members of that cabinet are still very prominent political figures today, some in the current government.
so it could implicate others who were part of that decision-making process back then. Makes things very messy politically.
Extremely messy. Prosecuting Mahathir isn't just about Mahathir. It potentially opens a much bigger can of worms.
And they've put the Speaker of the Dewan Rakyat in a really tight spot, too.
A classic political checkmate scenario, almost. The opposition feels they win the narrative regardless of what the speaker decides about Taqiyuddin's motion.
How so?
Okay, if the speaker allows the debate on referring Anwar to the committee.
Instant parliamentary drama, live TV coverage.
Exactly. A huge platform for the opposition to hammer the government on constitutional principles, alleged interference. They hope it energizes their base and maybe draws more people to the rally.
Okay, scenario one. Debate happens, opposition gets airtime. What if the speaker rejects the motion?
Then the cry goes up. Unfair, biased, protecting Anwar.
They can paint the speaker, and by extension the government, as trying to cover something up.
Right. Why won't they let us debate this crucial issue? What are they hiding? It fuels public suspicion and dissatisfaction either way.
It really seems like a no-win for the government's public image. What about other possibilities? Referral or delay?
If the speaker does refer Anwar to the committee, the opposition spins it immediately. See? Even their own speaker thinks Anwar needs investigating. He must be at fault.
It looks like an internal admission of sorts.
Or if the speaker just delays the decision, maybe waits until after the July 26 rally.
Then it looks like stalling. Trying to suppress rally turnout, avoid accountability before a major public demonstration.
Every outcome can be weaponized to paint the government in a negative light. It's strategically very clever from the opposition side.
And it all seems to pivot on Anwar's specific words.
Yeah.
We decided not to pursue, but he is at fault.
That phrasing has really become a double-edged sword. The first part, we decided not to pursue, opens the door to accusations of interfering with the Attorney General's constitutional role.
And the second part, but he is at fault.
Is being painted as the Prime Minister acting like a judge, declaring guilt without a trial, interfering with the judiciary's role.
These aren't minor procedural points either.
Not at all. They touch the very foundations of how government is supposed to work. Separation of powers, judicial independence. It's a clash over fundamental principles being played out in the political arena.
It really makes you think. For you listening right now, what's your take on this? Does this kind of political chess match, whoever's playing it, build up or break down trust in our institutions here in Malaysia? Something to consider.
It is. Now, while this whole situation, the Batu Puteh fallout, the interference accusations is definitely a big headache for the current government in terms of PR.
A headache is putting it mildly, maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But the general assessment, politically speaking, is that it's probably not going to cause a regime impact.
Meaning the government isn't likely to collapse because of this.
That's the view. Even if Anwar is referred to the Rights and Privileges Committee, it might end up being seen more as a way to, well, manage the opposition's demands, a somewhat symbolic move, rather than something that genuinely threatens the government's stability.
But still, a significant blow to public perception.
Oh, absolutely. It's a major hit on that front. You see, the opposition constantly needs these big, resonant issues to keep the political pressure on.
Especially when the government rolls out things like welfare policies, like those RM100 cash handouts recently.
Exactly. Those populist measures can sometimes quieten down discontent among lower income groups. So the opposition needs something larger, something about principles, about governance to cut through.
And this issue, involving the Constitution, former and current prime ministers, alleged interference. It fits the bill perfectly.
It gives them that bigger topic they need to keep their base energized and challenge the government's narrative effectively.
So we can probably expect to see more of this. More intense attacks and defenses in the months ahead.
I think that's almost certain. Both sides will be looking for every angle, every opportunity to frame the narrative in their favor. It's going to be a continuous battle for public opinion.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really leaves you thinking about this complex interplay, doesn't it? Legal principles, political strategy, public perception.
Yeah.
All swirling around together here in Malaysia.
It raises fundamental questions. Is justice ever truly absolute? Or are there always other factors involved? Age, political stability, maybe just managing public anger?
And what happens when the very pillars of the legal and political system, things like the AG's independence or parliamentary process, become the actual battleground for political points and public opinion wars?
It's a profound concern for any society. What are the long-term effects on trust, on accountability, on the rule of law itself?
Definitely something worth mulling over long after this discussion ends.